Hey coin collectors! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about some seriously rare Lincoln pennies, so rare, they're worth thousands. If you've got one in your pocket change, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Let's dive into the top 3 ultra-rare pennies and their cool backstories. Let's start with the 1983 no mint mark penny. When most people hear about a rare 1983 penny, they probably think of the famous copper penny, but that's not what we're focusing on here. This coin is rare for an entirely different reason, because of a minting error. Back in 1983, the US Mint switched from using copper to a cheaper zinc-based composition for pennies. But, what makes the 1983 no mint mark penny special isn't just the material, it's that some of these pennies were struck without a mint mark at all. Typically, all pennies made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. But here's where things get interesting. In 1983, the mint made a mistake. They left the mint mark off some of the coins that came from Philadelphia. Most of the 1983 pennies have the P mint mark to show they came from the Philly Mint, but a small handful were missing that mark entirely. And that's exactly what makes this particular coin so rare. Only a few of these 1983 pennies were struck without the mint mark, making them incredibly sought after by collectors. Now, if you're wondering just how valuable this error coin is, it can be worth up to $15,000, depending on the condition. Yes, you heard that right, $15,000. The price can fluctuate depending on the coin's grade, and its history, but if you're fortunate enough to find one in near mint or mint condition, it could be worth quite a bit. That's a hefty return if you're just looking through your change, right? So, what should you be looking for if you think you found one of these? First, check for the absence of the mint mark. This is the big giveaway. No mint mark means the coin is part of the rare error batch. But also, pay attention to the overall condition of the coin. Coins that are in mint condition or nearly mint condition will always fetch higher prices. Look for any signs of wear and tear, like scratches or fading. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it will be. What's even more intriguing is the fact that while these coins are worth a lot today, it wasn't until collectors started noticing these minting errors that the true value of the 1983 no mint mark penny was realized. So, if you have one of these rare coins in your collection, or even just in your spare change, make sure you don't overlook it. This coin is a perfect example of how a small mistake can lead to big rewards. Next up, we've got the 1975 Lincoln penny. This coin is worth a lot because it has a rare error that makes it stand out. In 1975, the US Mint produced several varieties of pennies, but one thing makes the 1975 pennies particularly special: a double die error. This means that the image of Abraham Lincoln on the coin appears to be doubled or slightly offset. It's a mistake that can create a very unique look to the penny, and it's exactly what makes this coin worth big money. You can spot the double die error by carefully looking at Lincoln's portrait, as well as the inscriptions like the date and the word Liberty. The doubling is most noticeable around the numbers in the date and along the motto. It can sometimes be subtle, but with a sharp eye, you'll be able to notice the difference. The doubling looks like the image has been struck twice, which is why it's called a double die. Now, if you're lucky enough to find one of these 1975 pennies with the double die error, you could be looking at a serious payout. A 1975 penny in decent condition can go for up to $10,000. That's right, this simple penny could be worth a small fortune if it has that rare error. However, the real jackpot comes when you find one that's in excellent condition. The better the condition and the clearer the double die error, the higher the value of the coin. Coin collectors are always on the hunt for these rare varieties, and they know that a well-preserved 1975 penny with a noticeable double die error can fetch a pretty penny. So, if you're going through your collection or checking your pocket change, make sure to give your 1975 pennies a closer look. If you find one with a strong double die error, it could be worth way more than just its face value. It's also important to remember that the more pristine the coin is, the higher the value. Coins with less wear and tear, clear error markings, and strong detail can fetch much higher prices at auctions or among private collectors. Coins that have been worn down or damaged will be worth much less. So, if you're digging through your penny jar or doing some coin hunting, don't overlook your 1975 D pennies. That small error could mean a big payday. Even though these double die errors aren't as well known as some of the other major coin errors out there, they're still highly prized by collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for a rare find like this one. Now, let's talk about one of the most famous and valuable Lincoln pennies, the 1969 D Lincoln penny. This one's a true legend among collectors, and it's all thanks to a significant error, the 1969 D double die obverse. This error occurred during the minting process when the dies used to strike the coins were misaligned, which resulted in the doubling effect on the design. What makes this error so fascinating is how noticeable the doubling is. You'll see it most clearly around Abraham Lincoln's portrait, the word Liberty, and the date. In some cases, the doubling is so severe that it almost looks like a ghost image sitting just behind the original design. This is one of those errors where, once you spot it, you can't unsee it. The doubling effect is unmistakable and definitely a head-turner when you're examining the coin closely. It's one of the most striking errors out there. Now, here's the exciting part. If you're lucky enough to find a 1969 D penny with a clear and noticeable double die error, especially in excellent condition, it can be worth up to $15,000 or even more. That's right, this little penny could potentially put a huge smile on your face if it's got the right characteristics. The error is rare, and collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved examples. If you come across one in your collection, you might just have found a treasure worth thousands. As with all rare coins, the value of the 1969 D double die penny depends heavily on its condition. The more well-preserved the coin, the more valuable it becomes. If the doubling is clear, the details are sharp, and the coin shows minimal wear and tear, then you're looking at a much higher value. Coins that are worn down or have visible damage won't fetch as much, so condition really matters when it comes to maximizing the value of these coins. When collectors buy these rare pennies, they're paying a premium for ones that are in mint or near mint condition, with the doubling effect looking crisp and clean. So, if you come across a 1969 D Lincoln penny with this error, it could definitely be your jackpot. Keep an eye on the condition, and if you've got one in great shape, you may have just discovered a coin that could be worth a small fortune. To recap, the 1983 no mint mark penny, the 1975 D double die penny, and the 1969 D double die penny are some of the most expensive and ultra-rare Lincoln pennies out there. If you have any of these in your collection, or even in your pocket change, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Be sure to check your pennies closely, and who knows? You might just discover a treasure that's worth big money. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more coin tips and tricks. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep collecting.